Have you ever wondered why some fighters are better at sustaining severe beatings than their peers? Take Max Holloway, for example. The man's a beast. Not only is he one of the best boxers in the UFC, but he also has a granite chin, which allows him to absorb haymakers from some of the hardest-hitting featherweights on the roster without worry. What is the thing that makes fighters like Holloway have a chin to die for? In today's video, we'll take a deeper dive into Max Holloway's iron chin to find the answers. Being one of the best fighters in the world is never easy. It takes massive efforts, commitment, and staying disciplined is the key. Holloway realized that pretty early in his life when he was still in high school.
This is normal though, ice is crazy in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And
ice is meth, right?
Yeah, meth. And I was like, holy shit, this is nuts. And then I see my friends and family, their parents or whatever, or even going to high school, my friends doing it, this and that. And I'm like, guys, this is not for me. I ain't gonna do this shit. I see what it did to my family, how it affected, and some of my people I love as friends and stuff, families, and I was like, I ain't gonna do this. And then that's just why I just stayed away. I never did anything. Never did no type of drug, not even marijuana. Never tried it.
The former featherweight kingpin, who grew up a child of drug-addicted parents, knew from an early age that he needed to be better than his troubled mother and his father, who abandoned his family. In his own words,
you shouldn't even give up. What is that? That, if you give up, you're certified a loser. If you try, you at least a winner in your book.
Despite a tough life back home in Waianae, Holloway didn't lose track of his goals and understood that he couldn't afford to end up like the people he knew. Max wanted to be a winner, and he knew he needed a disciplined lifestyle where drugs and consumption of alcohol in big amounts was a big no. Several studies have proved the negative effects of drugs and alcohol on professional athletes. Alcohol, in particular, when consumed in large quantity, leads to exhaustion, slows down reaction times, and all of it combined raises the possibility of a knockout. Holloway's disciplined lifestyle may be one reason why his chin holds up better than most. Damage accumulation is a major reason why fighters tend to lose their chins over time. We've seen this story play out time and again. When fighters are young, they tend to take more shots, but as they grow older and accumulate more damage, they get rocked even at the faintest of touch. At 31 years old, Max Holloway is still relatively young and in his prime, which is why he's able to take punishment. In 26 fights in the UFC, Holloway has absorbed a total of 2,010 strikes, with close to 1,200 being strikes to his head. That's certainly a high number, but judging by the number of fights he's had in the promotion, the stats aren't as worrisome as they seem on paper. Don't let these numbers fool you into believing that Holloway gets hit a lot. 1,200 strikes to the head over 26 fights means 46 strikes per fight. And here's the most interesting bit. Holloway has spent 430 minutes inside the UFC Octagon. His last 7 fights have been 5-rounders. And statistically speaking, Holloway absorbs only 2.8 significant strikes to the head per minute, which is very baseline. Justin Gaethje, for example, absorbs close to 5 significant strikes to his head per minute. On top of that, 40% of the 2,010 strikes Holloway has absorbed have come from the hands of Alexander Volkanovski, who he's fought 3 times, Dustin Poirier, who he's fought 2 times, and Yair Rodriguez. These are 3 of the best strikers in the UFC, and even they weren't able to hurt him badly. If you watch the fights, Dustin was the first to hurt Holloway in their rematch for the interim belt. The first 2 Alex Volkanovski fights, Max barely took any damage, and majority of the strikes were leg kicks. Early in the Yair fight, Max was touched by Yair, but Max made adjustments and slowed Yair down by wrestling and grappling. The physical damage came with 2.5 minutes left in the 5th round, when Yair went for a backflip that caught Holloway. Holloway has absorbed close to 1,200 strikes to the head, but not once has he been knocked down. That's a crazy stat if you ask me. Maybe that's down to the fact that Holloway doesn't spar anymore, or at least not with the same intensity. He even advises others to follow in his footsteps, because the former champion thinks it's the best way to minimize brain damage and improve longevity.
Like a good legend, Marshawn Lynch said, save your chickens. Save your chickens. Right here. You guys only get one brain, save it. You guys don't need to do it. You sparred enough, you train enough. We know how to punch somebody, you know how to slip a punch. Why are you gonna take unnecessary damage?
But then again, not sparring enough has had some sort of negative impact on his overall performance. But we'll discuss that another day. Scientifically speaking, you cannot train your chin to handle heavy leather. You're either born with it or you aren't. However, there still are ways in which you can improve your ability to take damage. For example, by strengthening neck muscles, which in return increase the brain's ability to take damage without losing consciousness. There are a number of factors which make or break a chin. First and foremost, not letting your head get rattled is important because if it gets struck hard, the brain and the skull accelerate at a different rate, which leads to the brain hitting the inside of the skull, leading to a concussion. The more violent the blow, the harder the brain collides with the inside of the skull, and the bigger chance there is of a knockout. Genetics do help some people more than others. For instance, some fighters have bigger skulls, greater bone density, wider jaws, but neck strength is the most important component in preventing the head from whipping around. Other than that, technical components such as vision, positioning, movement, and anticipation help a great deal as well. If you have followed Max Holloway's career since his humbling beginnings, you know how ridiculously good his chin is. He's never been knocked down in his career, let alone knocked out. And given the fact that he has fought knockout specialists like Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and even Jeremy Stevens, Holloway's chin remains goated. For a start, Holloway has a pretty solid skull and strong neck muscles. You'll never see his head whipping around awkwardly after taking a shot. It is stable more often than not, and that's due to his strong neck muscles and exceptional head movement, vision, and a solid posture and anticipation. While Holloway is hittable, it's extremely tough for most fighters in his division to land a clean punch to his chin. There's also this mental opponent to having a good chin that seems to be related to great cardio. Holloway simply doesn't have any quit in him, and his cardio and mental toughness are out of this world, making him one of the hardest fights for anyone in the featherweight division. With that, we have come to the end of this video on why Max Holloway has a granite chin. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. If you liked my video, please show me some love by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon so you get notified the next time I upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for